Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Home Built Workshop. Welcome to Wednesday Live. How's everybody doing today? I hope your day is going awesome, whether it's Wednesday or Thursday. I hope you're doing great. Welcome to the shop, where we're here to hang out for a while. And look at this. I have no beanie, and I need a haircut. What's going on? Let's see. Paul's here. Paul says, greetings all, and Harry Dude's here. Coming at us from the future. Thursday. What's up, Harry Dude? What's going on? Alrighty. As we settle in, we'll give everybody a couple of minutes to kind of get tuned in here while we catch up on what's been going on. I've got a mess behind me, and we'll get to that here in just a few minutes. Alrighty, let's see. Paul, what are you working on this morning? I'm gonna guess work. And Harry Dude, what's on your bench this fine Wednesday morning? Time surfing alien. So put the beanie on. Well, it's sitting right there because it was kind of cold this morning. We had 33 degrees this morning. We had like a frost warning or something last night. But I was out here early this morning trying to get things done. I feel like I've been running nonstop all morning since a little after 5 this morning. Today's a busy day. It is the last day of school for my daughter for the summer. So they only have a half day. So I'm trying to get some things done. So I was up early, had the coffee made, and I had the CNC machine running at 5:30 this morning trying to finish the last prototype neck and trying to finish up a project that I'm working on for this weekend. So it's been nonstop. And now this is like the first time that I've actually got to sit down for a few minutes and relax. And I'm looking forward to hanging out with all of you so I can relax for a few. Especially today. Kind of nuts. Paul's working on IT work stuff. Time surfing says, oh, the glare. I know, I'm sorry about that. But it's going to be, I guess, get used to it. As the weather gets warmer, the beanie's going to stay off. I got to get a haircut, though. It's kind of bothering me. Harry Dude is diagnosing a PA power amp. Joyous. Sarcasm. Sorry, Harry Dude. Don't touch any of those capacitors or something and electrocute yourself. Robert's here. Robert says, howdy, folks. Good morning, Robert. Paul says, hope your premature departure last week wasn't anything serious. Oh, yeah. Thanks for bringing that up, Paul. First off, I want to apologize for the weird technical difficulties last Wednesday. You remember I got a call from the school saying my daughter wasn't feeling well. And then right after that, the feed kept cutting out. And I don't know why. I tried Wi-Fi, I tried no Wi-Fi, and it just kept cutting out. So I ended up having to cut it short. So I'm sorry about that. I don't even know if you guys were still there. But it just kept shutting off. I did end up having to go over to the school and pick the kiddo up because she wasn't, I don't know, she just continued to not feel good. So, but she's fine. It was a weird, not even a 24-hour bug, just like it was literally like a 12-hour bug. And yeah, she had a fever that shot up, and then just as quick as it came up, it went back down, and she was feeling fine. So yeah, last week was just kind of a weird, I don't know, a weird chain of events with the phone call and then the internet thing. I don't know what the deal was, but my apologies, and thank you for those of you that stuck around for the last minute. But I don't know what the heck happened. But hopefully today, fingers crossed, that we don't have any issues. So, but yeah, everything's good, and I don't know. I have no explanation for it. But yes, it was really weird. Let's see. Time Surfing says, I need a cut and a polish. You know, I've thought about I've thought about going to like a barber to actually get like a shave. I think that'd be interesting. I've only really shaved my head once. Usually I just take the clippers with no guard and just, cut it as short as it'll go. Um, Same thing here. Well, this one I use the shortest guard that I have. But I thought about that. Let it get a little shaggy and then like actually have a shave. I don't know anywhere around that does that. I'm sure there's some place, but yeah, usually it's just the clippers. But I do. I need to get that done, especially now that it's getting past the beanie season. I'll take care of that for next time. Meanwhile, you're gonna have to just deal with the shine, because unfortunately, it's not going away. Paul says, "Are you using a Windows device to connect? That would probably be the root cause." What am I hearing out there? I don't know. No, I'm not. Well, I don't believe so. For our Wi-Fi, it's we have a mesh Wi-Fi system, and for the regular internet, phone internet, I'm just using cell tower stuff. So I don't know. I know you're not the Windows fan. Let's see. Latel has, sorry if I said that wrong. It says, howdy. When you're building guitars, do you do the necks yourself as well? Yes, I do. I do all of it. It was a gradual process learning all of it. And I've talked about before how I stepped into that quite a few years ago. But yeah, I do the necks, the bodies, everything myself, all from scratch. And I'll show you the neck that I have here in just a second. But yeah, to answer your question, I do all of it. Harry Dude says, capacitors, you say? Oh, that sounds good already. Just got the amp open and there's a big chunky cap floating loose inside. Pulled it out and the cap rattles. Scary. Oh boy. That does sound scary. Be careful. Don't be shocking yourself. Robert says, was trying to open the Opera web browser, and when your live came in, I started it up and the comment section was not available. I switched to Firefox like I normally use to allow the comments. Interesting. I wonder why. I wonder what's different. I have not used the Opera browser, I don't think. I used to use Firefox all the time, but now I've been using Brave. Have you guys heard of that? The Brave browser. And it's so far it's been working pretty good. Paul, any pros and cons to the Brave browser? I guess they give you like rewards and things that you can send to creators, or websites, I mean. And if you do use the Brave browser and you do use the rewards or whatever, Homebuilt Workshop website, Haley Guitars too, I think, is a verified creator on the Brave browser. So if you get those rewards, you can send them over to you can send them to like I don't know what they call it, like a donation or something. But just a side note, I know the Homebuilt Workshop website is a verified creator, so you can send them over. But yeah, I'm not too familiar with Opera or what the deal could be. But that's interesting. Firefox, I've never had a problem with. It always seems to just work. And Raymond's here. Raymond says, good morning. Good morning, Raymond. How are you doing this fine Wednesday morning? Time Surfing says, my wife ordered a DIY Strat from Temu. We'll see how it goes. I've been pondering. I've been thinking about ordering a bunch of guitar parts from Temu and making like I don't know, doing like a parts caster, a Temu parts caster, and seeing how interesting it is. I think that'd be interesting. And Gina's here. Good morning. Again. Good morning again. Gina says, hi all. Just stopped in to say hi. Have to drive now. So later. Well, you just stop in for a second and then split. And I just leaned my leg on a rag soaked in leather dye, and now I have leather dye on my jeans. Whoops. Well, anyway, thanks for stopping in. And I hope you drive. Where are you driving to? Don't stream and drive. And be safe. And I'll see you later on. Robert says, it's been around for a while. I've not used or heard of the Brave browser. Yeah, I have used, I've heard of it for quite a while, the Opera. But Brave seems pretty cool, from what I can tell. Time Surfing says, $65 complete. Man, you can. How can you beat that? If it's any sort of, if it's even a little bit of decent quality, I mean, for $65, how can you go wrong? You know, you put in a little, you might have to put a little extra work in, you know, fit and finish kind of thing, but $65. Man, that's ridiculous. I gotta have to look into that. Talia says, check this out later, but it's totally a new way of making guitar necks. It was shown at NAMM and got good interest. Interesting. I'll have to, I don't know. You can't, I don't think it'll let you post a link, but you could probably do a text link that's not technically a link, and then I can check it out, because I don't know where to check it out, but I'm interested. You've piqued my interest. Robert says, my Firefox has been acting up a bit with the video starting and running a short time, then freezes and have to restart. Yeah, that's weird. I don't know. I don't know. Cheers, everyone. A good coffee morning. So let's see. What the heck's on my bench? A whole disaster. Like, it really is a disaster. And part of that is just because I've been trying to go and go and go. This neck just came off the CNC machine this morning. I think, aside from I left the height, I left too much here, and it didn't cut all the way through, but it's ready, I think. Oh, I see a little bit of an adjustment I need to make, but I gotta change the height so that it cuts a little deeper. But this is how it came off the machine. I've got the fretboard attached, fret slots cut, blind fret slots even. This one does not have a truss rod. Well, it's got all the slots and stuff. There's slots for carbon fiber rods, truss rod, fretboard markers, like everything. I literally just cut this loose 10 minutes before we went live. And yeah, I think I've got my process worked out, other than a few more tiny little tweaks, really to just some depths. But the subtonic is getting mighty, mighty close to actually being started on. I haven't even really inspected this yet. I'm inspecting it now for the first time. I see a few things that I need to do here. But overall, I've got a little bit of meat left here where I can finish shaping things. Mostly happy with the transitions. I see a few areas that I gotta mess around with a little bit. Might do one more neck. I've got so many necks. There's probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or 7 test necks that I've done as I'm working out the process. That's what I've been working on almost every single day. I think there was one day out of the last 2 or 3 weeks that I haven't cut some parts. I think I've made about every mistake you could possibly make. I've broken bits. I've ruined pieces. That's why we do test pieces. I'm really feeling pretty confident, outside of a few changes that I'm seeing now as I'm looking at this, that this is going to work. This is going to work. But yeah, one day that I haven't actually run the machine. I think that was Saturday. But overall, the subtonic is coming together. I think I'm about ready. Excuse me. about ready to start on part 2, the part 2 video, where we're actually going to start making some parts, making some pieces for the guitar. It's coming along. A couple of test fits. So I got the pickups in, at least the ones that I'm going to use for this. We've got some pickups here. These are pretty cool. Well, hopefully. I've never used them, but just some, what do they call them? Soap bar style pickups. I think I've got everything. I've got the tuners. I've got pickups, pots, all that stuff. And jack. Everything's pretty well coming together. And it's exciting. But I was trying to get this done so that I had it done before the live. Because like I said, I have limited time today due to the fact that it's the last day of school. I can't believe that today's the last day of school before summer. It doesn't even seem right. But I wanted to get all this stuff done so that I can get to editing over the next day or two for the video for this weekend. Which I'll get to that in just a second here. Robert says, been getting rain just about every other day or so here. Yeah, we've gotten a little bit too. The springtime here, May, June, we get into our stormy season and hail season specifically. And we've gotten a little bit of that. We've been getting some thunderstorms popping up, and we've had some hail. Nothing real bad, at least not here. But yeah, we're coming into that season. We got probably a month or so of potential storms, and yeah, it's not fun, especially that hail. Man, that stuff can be pretty bad. Time Surfing says, finished coffee. On to sweet tea. I have not finished my coffee, but I'm working on it. And Donna's here. Donna says, coffee up. Speaking of coffee, cheers. Oh, that is mighty tasty. Time Surfing says, that looks cool. Yeah, thank you. It's been a process, for sure. But I've been enjoying it, although at times it's a little bit stressful, especially when I make a mistake in the programming, end up breaking some bits. In fact, I got to order some more bits this afternoon. But yeah, this one actually, the more I'm looking at it, I thought it was going to be closer than it is, but that's all right. It's all right. It was looking good all along. I'm really happy with the surface on this neck. Of course, this is not the neck I'm going to use, not the wood, but I'm really happy with how smooth that is and the way it turned out. I got a couple of weird spots in the transition areas. I was experimenting with some different things, and it didn't quite come out like I wanted, so we'll make a couple changes. Yeah, like I said, this is the first time I'm inspecting it, and I'm seeing a little bit more issues than I'd like, but nothing too bad. I think with some sanding on this, yeah, I don't know. I was going to say with some sanding, it might be usable. It might, maybe, probably. But anyway, the project's coming along. It's just a lot of work. And for the camp that says this isn't guitar building, which isn't you guys, I know that. Yeah. There's a ton of work that's going into this. It's crazy. Way more than I expected. But it's coming along, and I'm really getting excited. I'm trying to get everything down to where all the issues are worked out here before I actually cut material. And we're close. We're getting close. We're just not quite there yet as I look at things. Let's see. Dastardly Dave says, sup all. Hope everything was okay last week. Yeah, it was, Dave. It was. I was talking about that earlier. First off, thank you. Everything is fine. It was a weird chain of issues, right? So I got the call from the school, and sorry for those of you that I'm repeating this to, but I got the call from the school saying my daughter wasn't feeling well. And then right after that, internet issues were plaguing the stream. Like everything kept cutting out, cutting out, cutting out. I don't know why. But it was frustrating me, and because I didn't know if anybody was even still here because it was showing nobody. I don't know what the heck was even going on. I did end up having to go pick up the kiddo from school. Nothing serious, just a weird like 12-hour bug kind of thing, but everything's fine. Technical issues, weird sickness things, everything's good to go. We're good to go. Thanks for asking. I appreciate that. Time Surfer says, oh yeah, it's plug and play, no soldering. Wow, interesting. For 65 bucks. Jimmer says, I'm back. What's up, man? How was your trip? And Poor Conservatives here says, hey Jeff, just stopped by to wish y'all a great day. Stay dusty. Right on, my friend. Hope you're doing good, and we're definitely staying dusty around here. Right on. Thanks for stopping by. Robert says, Subbar P90s. Hope they sound the way you want them to. I hope they do too. I don't think they're technically P90s. They're bass pickups. I don't know. I haven't used these before, but they're just regular passive bass pickups. That's what I'm going to use to start off before I mess with any sort of active system. The active systems to me sound really good, but I don't like the battery aspect. I know that's part of the deal, but if I can find some passive ones that work for what I want, then I'll try to stick with passive. But maybe eventually I'll do something that involves a battery. I don't know. Time Surfing says, hit that like, people. Right on. Thank you. Yeah, hit that thumbs up button. Let the YouTubes know that that this is like the coolest live. Oh, right on. And Paul coming in with a super chat. Right on, Paul. Now I got to hit that button 36 times before it lets me actually click it. Thank you, Paul. I appreciate that. It says, keep the Java flowing. Yeah. Right on. Yes, we will definitely do that. Thank you. I appreciate that. I will hit this button. Oh, no. What have I done? I've done something else. There we go. There it is. Let's see. RMS Paint Studio says, hey, bro, thanks for sharing all the knowledge. I really enjoy your videos. They've been pretty useful for me. Greets from Mexico City. Right on. Welcome, RMS Paint Studio. Right on. Thank you. And I enjoy putting these different videos together. It's fun. I enjoy it, and I'm glad that it's been helpful. So thank you so much. I appreciate that, and I hope you're doing awesome, and hope everybody in Mexico City is doing awesome as well. Donna says, yes, Paul. Haha. Right on. Robert says, yeah, I've been getting a lot of destructive tornadoes here in Oklahoma this year. Other states as well. Too many people hurt and have died this year. I've heard about some of those. Yeah, it's crazy. We haven't had, thankfully, we're not in like the tornado alley necessarily. We do get tornadoes around here. I've never had one right here, thankfully. But I've seen funnel clouds in maybe a few hours here, not even a few hours. We've had some nearby. But yeah, hopefully this year calms down and we don't get it. Jimmer says, thanks, Gina, for the Northern Lights camera tip. Yes, isn't that weird? Did you guys get to see that? Remember that Northern Lights thing, what was it, a week or so ago? Everybody was talking about it, but you went outside and you didn't see anything? For some reason, I don't know why, you can't see it with your eye. Or at least not this particular one. But if you took a picture, the camera could see it. And yeah, it was really weird. I don't know what the deal was. But it was pretty cool. Robert says, I watched a Chip Foose video earlier this morning. He was talking to a high school young man that is working on a Monte Carlo that he's planning on entering into the Young Guns SEMA this year. That's awesome. All you have to say is Monte Carlo, and I'm all about it. I've owned several different ones, well, a couple different ones. That my very first car was a Monte Carlo, a 1980 Monte Carlo, and man, I miss that car. And then even my second car was an 87 Monte Carlo Super Sport. Jimmer, I know you know both of those cars mighty well. But yeah, I miss both of those cars, and I'm always on the lookout for either model, because I would love to get another one. Yeah, I don't know. I have a very soft spot in my heart for the Monte Carlos. The only ones I'm not a big fan of are the mid 70s ones, like the 73 to 77. Not my favorite. I don't hate them, but they're not my favorite. I like the 70 to 72s, and then the 78 to 80s, and then of course the 81 to 88s. But I like the Super Sport from like 84, 5, 6, 7. So if anybody's got a line on a like a 1980 or an 87, let me know. That they don't want like a bazillion dollars, or that's not all been hacked up for, like the lowrider stuff, because it seems like a popular one. Those are my favorites. Robert says the high schooler is from here in Oklahoma. That's cool. Right on. Dastardly Dave says, I had a couple G-bodies, 78 Malibu and a 79 POS Cutlass. Yes, a Malibu too. I would take a Malibu. It's close enough. Basically any G-body. The only ones, let's see, the Cutlass was one that I probably liked the least. I don't even mind like the Buick Regal, especially if it's the turbo one, But those things are like a gazillion dollars. But yeah, I would take a Malibu as well, like a 78, 79. Jimmer says those cars were both cool. I like the SS best. Yes, so did I. Actually, I like that more than the 80. But the 80, I got a soft spot for, because that's kind of what got the ball rolling. It ran perfectly fine when I got it. Had the V6 in there, and I couldn't leave it alone, and we had to pull that perfectly fine running V6 out and put in a V8, and that's what started a whole chain of issues, but really got me into working on cars and stuff. Robert says, if the young man is successful in getting the car ready for SEMA, Chip is donating a set of rims for him to the build. That's cool. I hope he gets it. I hope he gets it done. That's awesome. Paul says, I had a 70 Monte Carlo with a 454. Gave it to my son 2 years ago, and he's driving it. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, the 70 to 72 was like the first iteration of the Monte Carlo. Super cool, just that classic kind of look. I definitely like that style. I've driven a 72, I think it was. I've never owned one, but yeah, definitely like those. And then we can kind of forget about the mid 70s model, I think, and move on a little bit. But yeah, super cool. Donna says, I had an 82. Oh, an 82 Monte Carlo? That's awesome. Paul says, orange with a black strip down the middle. Oh man, orange. It's one of my favorites. My 80 was orange. And I should find some pictures of that. I look around like I have some out here. I don't, but somewhere around here I have some. And even one of me standing in front of it when I was like 16. Yeah, the super cool. That's awesome, Paul. And the 454. Can't go wrong with that. Cool. Alrighty, so what else we've been working on? Well, been doing a lot of, like I said, a lot of CNC machining. But in between that, like some of these tool paths, take an hour and a half. Especially the frets take an hour, fret slots, I mean. But there's a few, so I've had a lot of time in between. I've been doing a little bit of knife making and leather work. You remember the knife I made a couple weeks ago? This guy. Well, I made another one. This one's completely off camera, but made this little guy, and then I thought, well, I need to make a sheath for it. So that ended up being the project for this week. It's made a sheath, and it's able to be, you can hang it on your belt this way, or you can carry it on your belt this way. So, yeah, this one I really like. Everything fits really well. Little safety strap. But yeah, that's gonna be the video project for this weekend. Making this leather sheath. I think it turned out really cool. A couple things I wished I'd have done a little different, but it's fine. But yeah, that's what I've been working on. Again, the knife is not the video project, but I mentioned it in the video that it's made exactly the same as this other one, just a different shape. The main project is going to be this leather sheath. So I just finished this morning, finished stitching everything up and getting everything fit. So that'll be the video project for this weekend. Happy with it. So enjoy leather work. It's just fun. I like trying different things and figuring stuff out along the way. And yeah, I'm really happy with the way this turned out and the color too. So yeah, it's awesome. That's what I've been working on between this and the CNC. Yeah. So be on the lookout. Video for this coming up. Donna says the Monte Carlo SS 87 is my favorite. That's exactly what I had. I had the 87 SS. When I bought it, we bought it from a guy who was a dirt track racer, and he had swapped in one of his dirt track motors. I don't know if it was modified or if it was right out of the race car, but pretty close to right out of the race car when I bought it. Huge, like race cam in there, and it literally sounded like a race car. It was the cam was so choppy. I mean, it was super fun until the motor blew up, and I didn't have a race motor in there anymore. But Jimmer says 80 Diplomat with the slant 6, then an 82 New Yorker with 318 swapped out for 340, both white. Yes, I remember that. Remember those well. Definitely cool. Harry Dude says had to do an image search to figure out what you're talking about. Sorry, Harry Dude. Drissy Guitars, what's up? Robert says my brother had a 68 SS Camaro. Ooh, nice. Dasherly Dave says sweet knife. Thanks, Dave. Yeah, this one is kind of, I don't know what I want to use it for. It's kind of I don't know. It's modeled after a kitchen knife that we have that I really like. It's just smaller, but I think the size makes it usable for like an EDC kind of blade if you carry a fixed blade. And that was kind of the inspiration for the sheath. I wanted to make it usable for EDC if one wanted to carry it that way. And I'll try it out and see how it works. But yeah, thank you. Robert says it had a 350 with a 4 on the floor. Nice, the Camaros. An RMS Paint Studio with a super chat, dude. Thank you. It says, bro, I got a question. If you radius the guitar body and then you radius the bracing, how does that work? Or you should radius just one of them. Super confused about the radius body. Alrighty. Let's see. Well, first off, thank you for the chat so much. I really appreciate that. Oh, what have I done? I like zoomed in or something. That was weird. How did that happen? Did you see that? It like zoomed or something. I didn't even know you could do that. Okay, so let me see. If you radius the guitar body and then you radius the bracing, so we're talking about an acoustic here, right? Correct me anywhere if I'm wrong. How did that zoom in? Or maybe it didn't, and it just looks like it did. So I'm gonna go off of the fact that I believe we're talking about an acoustic. So the way that works, to get the radius on the body, you don't actually radius the top. I'm going to find something for an example here. Let me scan around here. What can I use? I don't know. Maybe this is just a piece of leather. So let's just pretend with me for a second, and hopefully I can make some sense of this. And I gotta move this seat because I swear that camera zoomed in. Ah, that was weird. Okay, so let's just say this is a bad example, but we're gonna try to make sense of this. Let's say this is your top. You're not technically gonna radius that piece. When you make the top, you typically are going to glue two pieces together to make that wider top, but those pieces are going to be flat, right? So say they're, I don't know, whatever thickness you've decided to use, right? Let's just say 100 thousandths. Those pieces are going to be flat. You're going to glue them together flat, and everything, that whole top is going to be a flat panel, okay? So then when it comes to the bracing, what you're going to do, I don't have anything. Okay, maybe the scrap here. This is going to be tricky, but try to imagine with me here. I need a pencil. we're gonna get through this. I'm gonna just draw a line on here. It's gonna be exaggerated, and hopefully we can make sense of it. So this is really kind of crappy. So you can sort of see this janky line that I just drew, right? It kind of goes in a radius up around here. So what you're going to do is you're going to remove this material on the ends down to your line so that your braces are starting out flat like this. You're going to remove that material so that the wood actually has the curve made into it. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay. So now you have a piece that is curved. The wood's not bent, but you remove the material so that the curve of whatever the radius is of your top is in your brace. Okay. So then when you take that piece and you glue it down into you glue it to your top, you're going to work in your radius dish. When you clamp the brace down, and this is going to be hard, I can't really demonstrate without removing that material. But since this surface is curved, when you press it down into your dish, it's actually going to cause your top to bend slightly, right? As it conforms in your radius dish, right? So your bracing is curved, it's gonna push it down, and as you glue it in, that's what gives the radius to your top. So you don't have to, you're not trying to bend the brace, you're not trying to form the top in some way. All you're doing is you're making your brace the radius that you want the top, and then as you force it down in your radius dish, it glues itself. The top gets glued to that curve, and that's how you get that. That's how you get that radius on there. So I hope that makes sense. If not, we'll continue the conversation, but let me know if that answers your question. It's RMS Paint Studio. Bam. Thank you. Robert says, knife and sheath. Look nice. Thanks, Robert. It's definitely been fun. I've been working on this for a couple days. The knife I made like last week, and decided that we're doing a leatherworking project, and yeah, I'm happy. Just finished this up this morning. Like I said, I was out here early, getting things rolling, trying to get this done, because I have to leave. Well, a lot earlier today because it's only a half day at school, so trying to get a lot of stuff knocked out. That she's one, and I'm super happy with how it turned out. I think it came out pretty cool. Now I got to edit the video. Time Surfing Alien says, my favorite car I ever owned was a 76 Nova with a 350 4-bolt main with 911 rear end. You mean 411? 911? Brock, manifold and dual point ignition. Nice. That's awesome. Yeah, Nova's another one I'd like. I would definitely take a Nova. Any kind of car around that era, I really like. I like the old ones too, but yeah, I definitely need a car, like a project car. Robert says the knife looks like a cross between a chef knife and a Skinner. Yeah, like I said, it was modeled after a kitchen knife that we have. I mean, I didn't actually take a tracing of it, but the shape. Of course, it's made from the same saw blade that I made this one from. But I was just trying to work with what I had for the diameter and to make it as big as possible. But yeah, it's based heavily on a kitchen knife. But I just think it's a cool. I don't know. I got to sharpen it. Yeah, it's not sharpened because I figured if I'm working with it, test fitting and things, I would probably cut myself. But I got to get it sharpened up now. And Harry Dude says, my first car was a 77 Holden panel van, straight six, 3 on the tree. Love that car. Says slowly building a 75 panel van. Cool. I like the panel vans are cool, I think. Those panel trucks and all that. I really like them. That's going to be awesome. RMS says, yes, we're talking about the guitar kerfing, I guess. Oh, so, the kerfing. The kerfing is a little bit different. The kerfing is the lining, right? Kerfed lining that gets glued around the inside to give you some support in there, and that gets glued on. Flat. So once you have your sides bent and in the mold, you're going to take your kerfing. Of course, it's going to be bendy because it's got a bunch of little cuts in there, and you're just going to glue it on around the perimeter of the body. Leave it sticking up just a little bit, and then once it's dry, then you can flip your body over and use your radius dish to drive the bus, as they say, and sand that radius into the kerf lining. So yeah, again, it's nothing really all that complicated. I know some of these processes when you're, especially on your early, if you're working on your first build, there's a few processes in there that really seem kind of intimidating, but really, none of it is really that bad. Once you work through the process, so you can get it done. I know you can. Just take your time. Hit me up if you have any questions. I've got, quite a few videos of building the 2 acoustics that I've done. You can go back and watch some of those. Hopefully some of those will answer your questions. But yeah, let me know if you get stuck on something or need any more clarification. I will absolutely do my best to try to get you fixed up. So KK's here. Says, good evening from Greece. Glad I caught up. My friend Jeff, greetings to all. I wish you the best, brothers and sisters. Have a good time, everyone. Right on, KK. Tell everyone hi over in Greece from us here at Home Built Workshop. I hope you're doing awesome. I'm glad you could stop in. RMS says, oh, okay. Hopefully that helps you out. Like I said, if not, let me know. We'll get you on your way. KK says, and of course, thumbs up. Right on, my friend. Haha. Henry's here. Henry says, any tips you learned while building your second acoustic guitar? Were the braces and top a lot thinner than your first? Still trying to get my first one done. Actually, Henry, I feel like on the second one, for some reason, was a little bit the opposite. I feel like I overbraced it. And it's in one of the videos. If you go back, and I forget which video it's in, I went back and started scalloping the braces out a little bit because I felt like it was a little bit much. I think on the first one, I was strictly strictly following the plan and the instructions that I was learning through Eric Schaefer's guitar building course. Um, but the second one, I was a little bit, I think I pulled back from some of that and was trying to do some of it on my own. And I feel like maybe I overbraced it a little bit. Um, and then before I glued the top on, it just didn't feel like it flexed enough. So I did go back in and scallop some of that. And I probably could have taken a fair amount more off on the second build. So if I would have stuck more with the plan, I don't think that would have been the case. But I was trying to do some of that on my own without, specifically following dimensions. On the very first build, everything I tried to match to the dimensions as close as I could because I didn't really know, right from wrong, I guess is a way to say it. So it's specifically following the dimensions, following instructions, and getting it done. The second one, I still was following the instructions, I guess, but I didn't really. I guess I strayed. I wasn't afraid to stray a little bit from the dimensions. And like I said, I think I overbraced it some. That's why I went back in and removed some of it. So the guitar sounds awesome. I've sold it. It's out of here. But it sounds great and it plays great. And I don't have any. I have no regrets with any of the choices. But I guess if I had to pick something, I would say I probably overbraced it on the second one, where I probably could have stuck with the dimensions again, and been just fine. I think the top was a little bit thinner than the first one, again because I strayed a little bit from the plan. I think that's probably what I would say would be the biggest thing. I think it's overbraced for what it needs to be. Time Servant says 411. Dumb thumb. Yeah, I know what you meant. I did. Paul says, my first car was a 68 Impala. It had so many dents in it that when my sister hit something, I couldn't tell. Plus, steering wheel was missing the nut, and it would fall off if you didn't hold it in place. Oh, it's like that. I don't even know, it was a TV show or something where here you take the wheel and you. That's great. Time Serpent says, I had a 67 Impala. Loved it. Nice. I love this car talk. RMS Paint Studio says, but then, is it one or the other? I mean, you radius the kerfing or you radius the bracing, not both. Technically, you're going to radius both. When you're gluing the top on, or when you're attaching the braces to the top, that's a whole separate, let's separate that from the kerfing, okay? That's a couple different operations. So when you are working on attaching the braces, the X braces or whatever bracing pattern you're using, you are going to shape the brace to that radius, and then you're going to glue it to the top in your radius dish. That's going to put that radius on the top. Then we're going to set that whole thing aside, and when you start working on the kerfing or the kerfed lining, right, that has nothing to do with the top at the moment. We're going to assume your sides are bent, and in the mold, maybe you've likely have your neck blocks in place. Some people don't, but you've got your sides in the mold and you're ready to apply the kerfing. You're going to glue that kerfing around the perimeter on both the top and the bottom, right? And you're going to leave it stick up just a little above the sides. Then you need to match that radius, right, to the top and the back, whatever radius you're using for the top. Let's say you're using I don't know, 28 foot radius on the top. Your bracing on the top will have that 28 foot radius in it, but we've set the top and the bracing aside. Now we're working on the kerfing. You're going to use your 28 foot radius dish to flip your mold over. You're going to sand that radius into the kerf lining, the kerfing, so that it matches the radius of the top. Because you don't want to take something that's flat and try to glue something that's curved to it. It's just not, it's not going to work great. If it's a giant radius, some people use like a 40, 50 foot radius or something like that. I have heard that people won't radius like the lining, the kerfing, but I probably would, just because I want to make sure that everything lines up. You want the arc on the ends of that kerfing to match the arc that you have on the top now, so that when you put it together, so everything lines up well. You don't want a flat piece, or have a curved piece trying to glue it to a flat deal. They both get the radius. You just do them different ways. So you will radius the kerfing that's glued to the sides to match the radius that you've put into your braces and that the top is now in. Hopefully that makes sense. Robert says, my first car that was drivable was a 57 Ford two-door ranch wagon with the 351 Cleveland motor, 4-speed on the floor, with a posi track rear end. That's cool. Good old Cleveland. Good old Ford big block. And Dallo's here. Dallo Guitars says, oops, I forgot it's Wednesday. No worries, Dallo. What's going on? How are you doing? Thursday? Wednesday night? Hair Dude says, my first car, the paint was holding the bog together, which was holding the rust together. I mean, that sounds about right for a first car. This sounds perfectly fine. RMS Paint Studio says, oh, I see. Now I got it. Finally understood. Thanks, bro. Bam. Right on. Awesome. So, yeah, I'm glad that worked. Sometimes I feel like when I'm almost confusing myself when I'm trying to explain something like that. And then I wonder if that even makes any bit of sense to you. So, right on. I'm glad. But yeah, go back and watch, you scroll through some of the acoustic building videos that I have. Check some of those out. Hopefully some of those will make it even clearer what I'm trying to say. Let's see. Robert says, have you seen or do you have a book called Guitar Making Tradition and Technology, written by William Compiano and Jonathan Nadelson? No, I don't. I don't have it, nor have I heard of it. I don't think. Might have to look into it. Maybe. I don't know. I haven't read a ton of books. I've read a lot of articles, and some of the stuff gets super technical, depending on the readings, or depending on the writer, I guess. But yeah, I've not read that one. Is it a good one? Is it a recommended read? RMS says, yes, I will. Promised. Right on. But seriously, if you still get stuck on something, let me know. Hit me up. Shoot me an email or pop into the live. We'll be live. I'm live every Wednesday, 9 a.m. Mountain Time. And we'll get you sorted out. I will do my best. Dallas says, I've been on the second build. Venetian cutaway, bending sides, gluing heel and end blocks, and curved lining. And now thinking about the rosette design. It's awesome. I'm starting to get a bug to start another one, but I'm not going to start it yet until I get this bass guitar, at least one of them done, before I plan to jump into any more acoustic builds. I do have a back, sides, and top set that I plan on using. I want to build an all mahogany baritone acoustic. That's definitely one that I want to do. Like I said, I'm not going to start on it just yet though, because I know how that's going to go. I got a bass guitar to get done first, and a cigar box build, and a cigar box rebuild, and oh boy, lots of stuff in the works. And it's getting, it's going to be challenging Like I said, because school's done today. Um, so summers, while I really enjoy the summertime, spending time with my daughter, it does get a little challenging to be able to get projects done. I'm not complaining, not at all. But I have to be a lot more, what's the word? Uh, I don't know what the word is. I have to be more diligent. I have to be more careful with my time, do better planning. There's a word, I can't think of it. The word escapes me. To be able to get stuff done, keep things rolling along. But yeah, we're going to be into the summer starting tomorrow, pretty much. We need to get back. We need to get our raft. Remember the raft? Our raft and the canoe paddle that I made? We need to get that back out. What are some good summer projects? You guys got any good ideas? I'm always on the lookout. But Dallo, I hope your build is going well. The Venetian cutaway is the bent one, correct? Or is that the Florentine? I always get those mixed up. Are you doing the bent one or the straight one? KK says, for me, the most beautiful car in the world is the Mustang. But here in Greece, I have a BMW 316i. I wish I had the Mustang in red. Yeah, I definitely like the Mustangs. Probably my favorite Mustang would be, I don't know, probably that 69, 70 Mustang. I also like the 80s five bodies. Those will probably be my next favorite ones. And the Beamers, the 316, I'm not familiar with that. I used to have, a long time ago, actually right after I had my Super Sport Monte Carlo, I had a little 318i, like a 1984 318i BMW. Bought it wrecked, fixed it up, and I drove it out here for a few years. That was a fun little car. It only had a little four-cylinder in it, but it was a five-speed, which I really miss driving. And it was a fun little car. That was a good little ride. But I'm not familiar with the 316. Robert says it looks like it's a pretty comprehensive coverage of acoustic guitar building. Well, that's cool. Henry says, I feel like no one believes me when I talk about mountain time anywhere else in the US. Yeah, I grew up Eastern time, and yeah, it's like it's not something you think about a lot of times, especially if you're in your own little world. But being as we're all from different parts of the world, and we get to try to interact at the same time. I feel it's important to throw that mountain time out there because I don't know what time zone everybody lives in, but you can all reference it off of that mountain time zone. So that's why I throw it out there. Heritage says you have to be more parent. Yes, yeah. Like I said, and that's not a bad thing. It's just I gotta pay attention. Paul says I can make you high dollar luthier. I have two sets of Brazilian rosewood back and sides with paperwork. Ooh, with the CITES paperwork and everything. Nice. You need to build one. You do. You need to build one. Jimmer says, kids off, free labor. Yeah, we will. Yeah, today's the last day of school here. It's crazy. They start a lot earlier than back there, but they also get off earlier. It's still taking me a while to get used to being done with school this early and starting as early as they do. But yeah, we'll definitely we'll get the kiddo involved in something this summer. I don't know what yet, but we'll do something. Robert says a build to strip construction canoe. They will need a bigger shop to work in. That'd be fun. I think a canoe would be cool. I'd have to put up one of those like fabric garage things, those, what are they, carport deals or something to keep it outside. KK says the 316 is a 2002 black. It's good, but it's not a 90s Mustang. Yeah, that's true. I like Beamers though. Adela says indeed, and Venetian is a rounded one. Gotcha. The Venetian one is the one that I want to do. I want to try one of those. Yeah, Venetian. Something about the Florentine to me, it's not my favorite. Like I know quite a few builders that prefer the Florentine, the pointed one. I like the rounded one myself, but I think actually they're both cool and they both have their pros and cons, their challenges in construction. Um, but yeah. RMS Paint Studio says, bro, top 5 electric tools to have at a workshop, like bandsaw, router, etc. Um, RMS, that one is a little bit tricky to answer because it's going to depend on what you want to do. I would say overall, right, for just general use, um, for to be able to just do a variety of projects, I would say a table saw, a bandsaw of some sort, a drill press. Okay, with those three, you can do a lot of stuff. But I also think that I'm just kind of looking around my shop, and I would say, well, really, let's see, top 5 electric tools, bandsaw, router. So I'm gonna guess we're talking um, kind of the larger floor stuff, not like a skill saw, quartered drills or anything like that. We're gonna talk maybe stationary tools. Thinking of my shop, table saw, as I'm looking around, bandsaw, uh, uh, drill press. I have a benchtop bandsaw, a benchtop drill press. I have a inexpensive table saw. Another tool that I use all the time, but not everybody needs it, is a drum sander. I use it all the time. A planer would be a good one. You could swap out in most cases. There are times when the drum sander comes into play where I wouldn't want to use my planer, but some way to thickness boards, whether it's a planer or a drum sander. So that's 4. I would almost say that that's about it. If you wanted a 5th one, let's throw a joiner on there. Now a joiner, you could eliminate the joiner by using, there's other methods, shooting boards, hand planes, that sort of thing. I guess a drum sander or a planer you could always do by hand with a hand plane, but that's a lot of work. But I think those would probably be my top 5. Although I don't use my joiner as much. I use the drum sander almost not every day, but every guitar project gets the drum sander. I guess that would probably be it for the larger tools. Jimmer says, more tedious and aware of your time use. Yes, that's exactly it. I just have to pay more attention and be more diligent. Yeah. RMS says, yes, kind of medium, something to have at home. Yeah, table saw, bandsaw, drill press, and some way to thickness material, planer or drum sander. I have both. My planer is very inexpensive. Doesn't work great. I almost always use the drum sander instead of the planer. Harry Dude says, top 5 tools for me: table saw, drill press, router table, scroll saw, bench sander. There it is. Ooh, yeah, I think a router table would be a good one, especially if you want to do guitars. So let's go with table saw, bandsaw, drill press, drum sander, router table. That would be my 5, I think. There's other ways to joint an edge, but I don't know how I would get things thicknessed especially for acoustic guitar building and electric guitar building without my drum sander. So I would use that all the time. Again, everybody's use case is different, right? We all have different requirements, different budgets, different shop space, different projects that we make, which are going to require us to do different things. So my top 5 may not be your top 5, which may not be someone else's top 5. And therefore it gets a little bit tricky. So it really depends on what you want to do. And you just got to keep that in mind and work with what you can. Don't feel that just because I said those things doesn't mean that's what you have to do. Heritage says, You can use a router table as a joiner. Yes, good call, Harry dude. I haven't done that in years, but yes, you absolutely can, and it works pretty well too. So yeah, definitely I would swap out router table for joiner. Yes. RMS Pay Studio says, awesome, bro. Right on. Robert says, either canoe or a kayak. I think that'd be fun. I want some kayaks. Paul says, I love my drum sander. Top 5, router table, joiner, bandsaw, drill press, and drum sander. Router table, yeah. Yeah, table saw, you know, I'm getting to where I don't use it as much. I still use it, and it definitely there would be things that would be challenging if I didn't have it. But yeah. Yeah, I like that top 5 too, Paul. That's a good one. Yeah, I forgot about the router table can be a joiner as well. So that'll take a joiner out of there if you need to. That's cool. Right on. Awesome, guys. Well, we are at the top of the hour. It's not very long when I got to head over to the school, pick up the kiddo for the last day of school for the year. This guy, or for this school year. Craziness. So that being said, we're gonna wrap this up. But Harry Dude comes in with a very good point. He says you can use the drill press as a thicknesser with the safety planer from StuMac. Yes, Harry Dude, I have not used one of those, but that's a great option. It doesn't look too bad. So yes, good point. You could do that too. Awesome. Right on, guys. Well, let's wrap this up. Before we leave, I want to make sure all of you hit that thumbs up button, and I want to give some thumbs up to all of you and say thank you for taking some time to hang out here at Home Built Workshop and Wednesday Live. So I want everybody to have a great week. We're coming into Memorial Day weekend here in the U.S. anyways. So typically that means summer type activities begin in a lot of areas. So I hope if you guys are doing Memorial Day stuff, I hope you get out there, have fun, be safe, and enjoy yourselves. Be on the lookout this weekend. Leather sheath video for this handmade knife. We're going to be building it as soon as I get it edited, which I'm going to start today. But right on, guys. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate each and every one of you for hanging out, taking some time out of your day. You guys stay safe, stay well. Paul says, have a great week. Dallas says, have a great week. KK says, thanks for hosting me. I hope you come to Greece at some point. KK, that would be awesome. I would love to. So you and your families have a great time. My friend Jeff, be well, my friend. Right on, KK. Thank you. Yes, maybe one day we can get to Greece. That would be cool. Robert says, stay safe. Drizzy Guitars says, cheers. RMS Paint Studio, thanks, guys. Glad to see y'all. Right on. Thanks for hanging out. Heritage says, stay well. Catch you all next week. Right on, guys. Have an awesome week. New video this weekend. Stay safe. Get outside. Build some cool stuff. Work in your shops. Build those projects. Have some fun. And we'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in. Later, everyone.